Like a timeless paperback romance, Fabio Lanzoni's flowing locks and sculpted chest once sold millions of fantasies. Now 66, his coverboy physique carries softer edges. Yet his legacy reminds us desire evolves. He writes, farms, and champions animal rescue, proving allure can mature with a kinder spirit. Once the underdog hero who ran Philadelphia's steps as Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone at 79 channels that same fight into painting and quiet advocacy. From sinewed brawler to gray-maned storyteller, he shows muscle fades but resolve deepens. His films still echo grit redefined for new generations. Remember Bruce Boxleitner commanding space in Tron's neon grids? Now 75, he tended his Montana ranch, trading youthful, chiseled charm for a weathered beard and calm resolve. His legacy bridges sci-fi's past and future, reminding us heroes grow older, but their stories stay wired into our screens. The Terminator once crushed villains with steel biceps. Now 77, Arnold Schwarzenegger's frame holds less bulk but more purpose. He champions climate action, mentors future leaders, and laughs at aging cliches. From iron icon to silver-haired statesman, he proves masculinity's might can shift into mindful power. Once the volcanic force behind Scarface, now 85, Al Pacino speaks less through fury and more through reflection. From chiseled charisma to silver-bearded sage, he's traded box office bravado for intimate roles, reminding us that intensity ages, but never fades when it burns from within. Like a battle-worn film reel, Robert De Niro's face, once taut with rage and Taxi Driver, now carries 81 years of lived grit. His physical edge has mellowed, but his characters still cut deep. Masculinity's shift from dominance to depth echoes in the way he wields silence. Remember his stranded plea in Castaway? Now 69, Tom Hanks champions empathy as fiercely as he once threw volleyballs. No longer the clean-shaven everyman, he carries his legacy with graying grace, proving that cultural trust is earned through decades of quiet constancy. The mask is off. Once elastic-faced and chaotic in Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, now 63, paints stillness into his days. From manic energy to mindful art, his face, lined but expressive, tells a new truth that once loud laughter can evolve into meditative presence. Once leaping rooftops and smashing stereotypes in Drunken Master, Jackie Chan at 71 lets his bruised bones rest while his spirit stays kinetic. From youthful daredevil to gray-templed philanthropist, he funds schools and nurtures young talent, showing that true action heroes age into guiding hands. Like an ancient oak, Morgan Freeman's deep-voiced presence once grounded Driving Miss Daisy and Shawshank Redemption. Now 88, his once trim frame carries the grace of time. Narrating nature's wonders, he proves wisdom never wrinkles. His legacy roots us in stories that remind us how voices outlast years. Remember Russell Crowe, roaring in Gladiator's arena? Now 61, the chiseled general wears a poet's beard and directs quiet tales from his farm in Australia. Trading swords for scripts, he champions indie film and mental health causes. His legacy reminds us real strength comes when the fight turns inward. Before we continue these amazing celebrity transformations, here's a quick challenge for you. Can you subscribe to ThenVsNow Legends in the next 5 seconds? Smash that subscribe button and join us on this journey through time with your favorite stars. The man with no name once defined stoic grit in dusty westerns. Now 95, Clint Eastwood's steely squint softens behind the camera as he crafts stories on his terms. From rugged cowboy to white-haired auteur, he proves masculinity can swap bullets for vision, shaping Hollywood with age-worn, unwavering resolve. Once the brash genius behind Iron Man, now 60, Robert Downey Jr. trades tech suits for soil and soul, advocating sustainability and introspection. From youthful volatility to bearded calm, his arc proves reinvention isn't just survival. It's the most heroic plot twist of all. Like an old saddle, Sam Elliott's appeal has weathered into legend. His baritone once echoed across Tombstone. Now, at 80, it anchors quiet westerns and wisdom. The mustache remains, but his rough edges have softened, proof that true grit ages into grace. Remember his firebrand idealism and glory? Now 70, Denzel Washington leads with steady grace, mentoring young artists behind the scenes. From sharp-jawed icon to wise statesman, he redefines masculine strength not as dominance, but as deliberate, enduring purpose. Once the quirky scientist in Jurassic Park, now 72, Jeff Goldblum has become a cultural jazz note, eccentric, refined, timeless. His sharp features have softened into a silver-coated mystique, turning his every pause into proof that charisma doesn't expire, it adapts. Like a flickering candle in misty Gothic halls, Julian Sand's ethereal charm lit a room with a view and countless thrillers. Though he passed in 2023, his once boyish features turned into a distinguished silhouette. His legacy whispers that art's true ghosts linger on, reminding us beauty's fleeting, impact eternal. Once the soulful heart in Santa Barbara, a Martinez at 76 wears his graying hair like a storyteller's crown. From soap icon with sharp features to an elder advocate for indigenous voices, he mentors rising talent, reminding us true leading men evolve, trading smooth scripts for authentic, lasting resonance. The cool assassin of Le Samurai once embodied aloof European allure. Though Alain Delon left us in 2024 at 88, his chiseled face aged into a somber mask of reflection. His legacy asks if stoic masculinity ever softens, and proves that icons may fade from screens but sharpen memory with timeless shadows. Remember Andrew McCarthy, brooding and pretty in Pink's Brat Pack glow? Now 62, his once boyish grin peeks behind a camera as he directs indie gems and pens travel books. From 80s pinup to silver-bearded nomad, he reminds us youth's soft edges can harden into wisdom when the spotlight shifts inward. Once the chilling calm of Silence of the Lambs, now 87, Anthony Hopkins paints and composes, his lined face a map of resilience. From razor-sharp menace to open-hearted elder, he reminds us that power needn't shout. It lingers in stillness and evolves through grace. Like a forgotten marble statue, Armand Assante, who once brooded through Gotti, now moves quietly through 75. His smoldering intensity gave way to global activism. Though the jaw has softened, his presence carries weight, a reminder that legacy can whisper and still command. Remember his steady command as Captain Sisko in Deep Space Nine? Now 76, Avery Brooks teaches theater and reflects on Black identity through jazz. From bold screen captain to soulful scholar, his salt and pepper beard signals a life devoted to dignity over fame. Once a suave force in LA Law, now 60, Blair Underwood channels his energy into directing and advocacy. The youthful charm has deepened into seasoned focus, proving that modern masculinity isn't about allure. It's about the wisdom to uplift and redefine it. Once the fresh-faced pop idol whose voice lit up Here Come the Brides, Bobby Sherman at 81 swapped fan mobs for a paramedic's uniform and family quietude. From teen heartthrob with crisp features to a silver-haired helper, he reminds us fame's brightest lights can fade gracefully into a life spent saving others. Like a forged blade, Christian Bale's sharp edges in American Psycho, or as Batman cut deep into our ideas of toughness. Now 51, with lines framing once angular features, he embraces complex, bruised roles and mindful fatherhood, proving raw masculinity can morph, yet keep its cutting honesty intact. Remember Chuck Norris spinning kicks through Walker, Texas Ranger? Now 85, his once rigid jaw softened by age and wisdom, he teaches self-defense and speaks on resilience. From action warrior to gray-bearded guardian, he reminds us stoic might matures best when it's guarding rather than fighting shadows. Mr. Darcy's brooding stare once redefined romantic restraint in Pride and Prejudice. Now 64, Colin Firth's boyish profile has grown thoughtful creases as he champions refugee rights and quieter roles. From polished leading man to silver-templed humanist, he shows that dignity deepens when empathy leads. Once the weary but unbreakable cop in Lethal Weapon, now 78, Danny Glover uses his voice for justice more than scripts. From strong jawline to soft-spoken elder, he's shown that action heroes don't retire. They evolve into advocates with deeper missions. Starsky and Hutch made David Soul a 70s icon, but But after his passing in 2024 at 80, he's remembered less for TV swagger and more for his later piece. From sun-kissed idol to quiet humanitarian, his arc traced a deeper truth. Fame fades, but compassion echoes. Once the explosive energy behind Beverly Hills Cop, now 64, Eddie Murphy tempers his fire with fatherhood and reflection. His trademark grin remains, framed by time's edges, proving that brilliance doesn't dim. It just learns to choose its moments. Remember his raw duality in Fight Club? Now 55, Edward Norton steps back from the spotlight to champion environmental causes. His once angular intensity has softened, but his focus is sharper, reminding us that some leading men evolve by stepping aside. Once the rugged force smashing tanks and Hulk, Eric Bana at 56 swapped blockbuster muscles for subtle indie turns and fatherhood in Melbourne. His once-cut frame wears a salt-flecked beard now, reminding us masculinity can trade brute strength for quiet complexity. An actor who proves softer edges carry real weight. Like a vintage jazz record, Idris Elba's presence in Luther spins raw grit and magnetic edge. Now 52, his once razor-lined jaw sports flecks of gray as he DJs, directs, and fights for underrepresented stories. He shows how masculinity, like a deep bass line, evolves yet keeps its pulse true and resonant. Sonny Corleone's fiery swagger once exploded on screens in The Godfather. Before his passing in 2022, James Caan's rugged profile mellowed into a mentor's warmth. He left behind a legacy reminding us tough guys can soften off screen, proving that real impact isn't in gunfire but in the echoes of craft. Remember James Darren crooning his Moondoggie in Gidget Sunlit Surf? Before his passing in 2024, his Beach Boy grin aged into a silver crooner's charm on stage. From teen idol to seasoned Vegas performer, his smooth voice outlasted the tide, showing nostalgia can mature sweetly when a song keeps playing. Like an ancient bell, James Earl Jones's voice, once the thunder behind Darth Vader, now rings with reverence at 94. From towering presence to quiet legend, his slow steps carry more power than any scream, reminding us that legacy lives in the echoes we leave. Once the clean-cut teen in Teen Wolf 2, now 56, Jason Bateman commands with stillness in darker roles like Ozark. The boyish charm has settled into creased intensity, mirroring a culture shift, from likability to complexity in the portraits men portray. Remember the stoic brawler in The Transporter? Now 57, Jason Statham embraces fatherhood and produces behind the scenes. His rugged physique is a little less carved, but his grit endures, redefining strength not as dominance, but quiet, committed presence. Once the cool menace of Dead Ringers, now 76, Jeremy Irons brings gravitas to stage and screen with creased elegance. His patrician features have weathered into something wiser, reminding us that allure, like art, deepens with the weight of years. Once the sharp-suited force in LA Law and NYPD Blue, Jimmy Smits at 69 wears his once boyish charm beneath silver temples and a mentor's calm. Trading primetime grit for cultural advocacy, he uplifts Latino stories on stage and screen, proving masculinity grows deeper when it roots itself in community. Like a cracked mirror, Joaquin Phoenix's intense eyes in Joker reflect the chaos within us all. Now 50, his angular face shows quiet lines of fatherhood and activism. From brooding icon to vegan advocate and fierce voice for change, he proves raw masculinity fractures open when compassion finds a way in. Remember Josh Hartnett dodging aliens in The Faculty and brooding through Pearl Harbor? Now 46, his once heartbreaker face wears a thoughtful beard as he raises kids and picks indie roles far from Hollywood's glare. He shows fame's fleeting fire can cool into steady warmth when family takes center stage. J.R. Ewing's sly grin once twisted primetime morality in Dallas. Before Larry Hagman passed in 2012, his bold features softened into a cowboy hat and wry smile off-screen. His legacy reminds us villains can outlive scripts and that sharp masculinity can mellow with age, yet leave drama's door forever ajar. Once the oracle-eyed Morpheus in The Matrix, now 63, Lawrence Fishburne wears wisdom like armor. His once sculpted frame has settled, but his presence deepened, mentoring young artists and reshaping black masculinity into something fierce, thoughtful, and unapologetically grounded. Like a polished badge, Mark Harmon, once the heartthrob of NCIS, at 73, has stepped back into privacy. The crisp jawline has softened, but his image remains etched in TV's DNA, reminding us that quiet consistency can leave a louder mark than flash. Remember his simmering duality in The Hulk? Now 57, Mark Ruffalo blends activism with artistry. His features have matured into thoughtful creases, mirroring his shift from reluctant hero to real-world advocate, where gentleness becomes the boldest form of strength. Once the lovable Joey from Friends, now 57, Matt LeBlanc shrugs off fame's weight with dry wit and silver stubble. His physique softened, but his timing sharpened, embracing a culture that favors real over rehearsed and friendship over flash. Chandler Bing's sardonic grin once rewrote sitcom banter in Friends. Before Matthew Perry's passing in 2023, his boyish smirk softened under the weight of recovery and advocacy. From wisecracks to raw honesty, his legacy reminds us humor can't mask pain forever, but candor can turn struggle into hope for millions. Once the sharp-tongued vigilante in Batman, Michael Keaton at 73 wears his once clean jaw under a salt and pepper mane, shifting blockbusters for oddball indies and environmental causes. His legacy proves a hero's cake can fray, but conviction deepens, showing masculinity's might grows weirder, wiser, and freer. Remember Michael Nori dancing into Hearts and Flashdance? Now 79, his suave grin carries silver at the temples as he lends his time to mentoring young actors and advocating for Alzheimer's care. From romantic lead to elder statesman with a softened jaw, he reminds us legacy blooms when compassion drives it. Like a battered leather glove, Mickey Rourke's rebel edge in 9.5 weeks, and the wrestler still fits raw truths. Now 72, his once sculpted face tells tales in every crease. From bad boy to pugilist poet, he shows masculinity's rough veneer can crack and heal, proving the toughest hides carry the softest confessions. Once the street-smart detective in Starsky and Hutch, now 82, Paul Michael Glaser channels creativity into art and advocacy. His lean swagger has softened into a reflective frame, showing that enduring masculinity is often measured not in action, but introspection. Like a Miami sunset, Philip Michael Thomas, iconic in Miami Vice, faded from fame but not from vision. Now 76, with braided hair and spiritual focus, he's reshaped his identity. From polished charm to soulful mentor, his legacy pulses beneath the surface. Shaft made Richard Roundtree a symbol of power. After his passing in 2023 at 81, his legacy remains. From chiseled icon to wise elder, he carved space for black masculinity in cinema. Time etched lines in his face, but never dulled his impact. He burned bright in Stand By Me, and though River Phoenix left us in 1993, at just 23, his delicate edge still haunts cinema. His beauty wasn't just visual, it was visceral. Frozen in time, his legacy challenges Hollywood to value fragility as strength. The whirlwind voice behind Aladdin's genie once turned chaos into comfort. Before Robin Williams' passing in 2014, his warm grin lined with the weight of unseen battles. His legacy, from sharp-eyed comic to compassionate advocate, reminds us laughter's power endures, even when its source fades beyond the spotlight. Once the steely commander in The Hunt for Red October, Scott Glenn at 86 wears his craggy face like a weathered map. From sinewed action roles to calm life mentoring young actors, he shows how the hard-edged mold of masculinity can mellow into storytelling, proving grit matures best when it turns inward. Like an aged scotch, Sean Connery's Bond charisma mellowed but never lost its bite. Before his passing in 2020, his once flawless jawline gave way to a white beard and island quiet. His legacy lingers as a reminder that suave masculinity can outlive tuxedos, proving charm ages well when paired with rebellion. Remember Shamar Moore chasing criminals in Criminal Minds? Now 55, his once sculpted physique carries fatherhood softness and a salt and pepper beard. Beyond TV scripts, he champions MS awareness and mentors young talent, proving modern masculinity thrives when brawn bows to care and community. Once the stoic force and above the law, now 73, Steven Seagal lives in Russia, his ponytail silvered, his presence polarizing. From swift hands to slow philosophy, his path reflects a masculinity once defined by action, now reshaped by solitude and distance. Like weathered granite, Tommy Lee Jones, once the steely glare in The Fugitive, now 78, moves rarely but commands presence. His furrowed face speaks volumes, proof that gravitas isn't aged out. It's earned one no-nonsense role and unflinching silence at a time. Remember his gravel-voiced power in The Fast and the Furious? Now 57, Vin Diesel balances franchise fame with fatherhood. Though his frame's less ripped, his message holds weight. Family, once a tagline, is now a lived philosophy, rooted, real, and enduring. Once the fresh-faced rebel of The Fresh Prince, now 56, Will Smith wears his fame with scars and reflection. From punchlines to public reckonings, his chiseled charm has softened into nuance, revealing that growth, not image, defines a lasting legacy. Like a hidden journal, William Hurt's performances in Kiss of the Spider-Woman revealed raw pages of masculinity. Before his passing in 2022, his once classic profile weathered into a thoughtful elder's gaze. His legacy proves subtlety can roar louder than bravado, showing how truth lingers when ego fades away. Remember Woody Harrelson tossing wisecracks and cheers? Now 63, his once boyish grin sits beneath a weather hat as he farms hemp and champions eco-activism. From sitcom sweetheart to rough-edged environmental rebel, he shows masculinity grows stronger when it trades bar stools for fighting for the earth. Once the slick voice of Jack Donaghy on 30th Rock, Alec Baldwin at 67 carries silver stubble and the lines of turbulent headlines. From suited satire to outspoken advocate for the arts, his once clean jaw now frames an elder's defiance, showing how masculinity's edge evolves when it wrestles public storms. Bandit's swagger and smoky, and the Bandit once redefined rebel cool. Before Burt Reynolds' passing in 2018, his famous mustache crowned a smile softened by time. His legacy, all grit and wink, proves charm outpaces cars on any highway, reminding us that daring icons live longest in grins and engine echoes. Once the smirking anti-hero of Wall Street, now 59, Charlie Sheen walks a quieter path after public storms. His once angular charm is shaded by time and trials, but in his weathered face is a lesson. Reinvention begins where ego ends. Remember the dangerous cool of Heathers? Now 55, Christian Slater brings self-awareness to his roles in life. His sharp features now wear laugh lines, proof that former rebels can age into nuance, and that charisma tempered with humility still captivates. As the Partridge Family's golden boy, David Cassidy lit up the 70s. After his passing in 2017 at 67, he's remembered not just for teen idol fame, but for his later candor. From boyish beauty to fragile humanity, his journey echoed the cost of spotlight. Once pastel-clad and razor-jawed in Miami Vice, now 75, Don Johnson embraces character roles with a silver mane and twinkle of irony. The cool remains, but it's cooler now, softened by self-awareness, proving that swagger endures when seasoned with grace. As Coach Bombay, he turned underdogs into champions. Now at 63, Emilio Estevez writes indie films that challenge systems, not just scoreboards. His art from clean-cut teen idol to grizzled storyteller reminds us masculinity matures best when grounded in humility. Like a battered fedora, his legacy bears the weight of time, but still shields truth seekers. Harrison Ford, 83, once all grit and jawlines as Indiana Jones, now lends his voice to climate urgency. His rugged charisma softened, but his convictions only sharpened. Remember his hair flips as Uncle Jesse? Now at 61, John Stamos mentors young artists and performs with the Beach Boys. Less the leather-clad rebel, more the silver-haired steward of good vibes, showing cool can age gracefully when it's rooted in care. Once the disco king with a strut that shook cinema, now a private pilot and spiritual seeker at 71, John Travolta's transformation from sharp-jawed sensation to introspective icon maps a journey where resilience outshines routine fame. Once the silent storm behind Speed and The Matrix, now 60 and a patron of poetry and motorcycles, Keanu Reeves traded the spotlight for substance. From angular cheekbones to bearded grace, he reshaped action stardom into a study in restraint and quiet integrity. Like a tidal wave that slowed to a purposeful current, Leonardo DiCaprio, 50, still moves culture. From Titanic poster boy to environmental crusader, his boyish charm faded into weathered resolve, proof that passion deepens even as glamour recedes. As American Gigolo, he redefined allure in the 80s. Now 75, Richard Gere embraces Buddhism and diplomacy. His silver mane and softened gaze carry a quiet power, showing that influence isn't lost with age, but redirected with purpose and peace. Remember his smirk in St. Elmo's Fire? At 61, Rob Lowe leads wellness talks and podcasts, shedding the sheen of teen drama for candor and clarity. From chiseled roles to calm-eyed reflection, his evolution charts how charisma can age into connection. ThenVsNow Legends is feeling a bit lonely. 99% of you haven't subscribed yet. Show us some love and hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you the jaw-dropping journeys of your favorite stars. And if you're as fascinated by then and now glow-ups as we are, check out our previous videos. Trust us, they're totally worth your time and ours too.